Renowned for its breathtaking landscapes, historic castles, and charming medieval towns, Germany's Middle Rhine Valley is one of the most romantic and magical destinations in the world. The hillsides along the Rhine River are blanketed with a patchwork of green vineyards, and castles of true grandeur dot the tops of the cliffs, making this region feel like something out of a storybook. Whether you're looking for a relaxing getaway where you can lay back and sip on fine glasses of Riesling, or an exhilarating adventure where you can feel the adrenaline and thrill of a toboggan ride, the Middle Rhine Valley is certain to not disappoint. Guten Morgen from Rudesheim. Yesterday we drove from Wiesbaden into the Rhine Valley and got a little taste of this gorgeous region of Germany.
Today we'll be traveling north along the Rhine River, exploring castles, medieval villages, and hopefully getting a better idea of what life is like along the Rhine.
We are currently hiking up to a medieval castle that's perched up on a hillside and overlooks the Rhine River. And on the opposite side are these very steep slopes of vineyards that kind of look like a quilted patchwork on the mountainside. It is just absolutely magnificent.
This castle was originally built back in the 12th century, and like many of the castles that are dotted along the Rhine River, it was used for toll collection as well as for controlling the goods and services that would flow along the Rhine River. Apparently it was abandoned back in the day, so they rebuilt it in the 19th century. So I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Oh, you're such a good girl. This is Lulu, the castle dog. Hopefully she tours the castle with us.
We have ascended the mini stairs to the top of the watchtower, where way back when the guards would have a lookout on the ships coming and going to see if enemies were on their way. What they did is along the Rhine River, it was a major trade route, and they would tax or have a toll for the merchants coming through. And apparently at one point it was so expensive that the cost of all of the tolls would be about 65% of the value of the goods themselves.
Yeah, and if you did not know, the Rhine River connects the North Sea with the Mediterranean, so you can imagine how many people were on this river back in the day. Apparently, to go upstream, they had horses and humans pulling the ships going up. And I'm looking out at the current right now. It is very, very fast. So that must have been exhausting, but obviously they had a goal in mind. They could see the money, the wealth that came at the end of this journey. So even though it took weeks to travel the river, it was well worth it. Oh my goodness. Like, this is how you say you're a hunting family without saying that you're a hunting family. This is the most extensive collection of antlers I've ever seen, and there are just so many animals. I am mind blown right now. This castle has been so quiet and free of crowds, which allows us to get a really good understanding of what it was probably like to live here. And so I just came from the library, which is where the children got their education. It was greatly valued in this family, and so they were at that desk studying for several hours, learning French, Latin, and mathematics. And then just around the corner is the music room as well as the game room. And oftentimes the men would retire to the game room to play cards and tell stories of the past, whereas the women would go over to the music room to play piano or to do duets. And so it's just been so cool to really jump into their world.
As I mentioned earlier, there were medieval castles spotted all around the Rhine region, and apparently back in the 1800s and early 1900s, it became very trendy for nobility or wealthy people to purchase these somewhat dilapidated castles and turn them into their summer homes. So specifically, this castle that we're visiting was purchased in the mid-1800s, and it was renovated and expanded by the wealth of the family that lived here. It is really cool to walk around because you're able to see the old castle as well as the new.
This castle also has its own restaurant in such a historic setting. We have beautiful weather today and we decided to get 2 different dishes. I went with the currywurst, which we actually had over in Wiesbaden, but we had the street food version of it. So you can kind of say this is the gourmet currywurst, and it is beautifully plated. Chad went with the roast beef sandwich, and just look at those layers. They're greens and purples. Oh my goodness, my mouth is watering. And then we have ourselves a glass of Riesling and also a Radler, which is beer with lemon soda.
I feel like the nobility of the past.
Of the past with your crustless sandwich.
I'm sure they didn't eat this, but I'm pretty sure the food that we're eating now is even better than what they had back then.
I don't know, their fresh partridge sounded pretty good too.
Destination will be on the left.
We've just made it to Bacharach, and this place is known for their quaint old town and their charming half-timbered houses. And for whatever reason, there is no one else here, so it is very quiet and serene. We've been walking along their cobblestone streets, and it is just so cute.
We've climbed up one of the many towers that surround this little town, and I think it is so cool because each one is obviously very historic, but from this one specifically, it is in the middle of the hillside vineyard, and you can overlook the Rhine River as well as the old town, and it's so beautiful. So as you may already know, this is Claire and I's first trip to the Rhine River Valley. And I can already tell that this region is a place that we're gonna have to come back to time and time again, just because there's so many small villages and towns that you can visit. And every single person's trip here is probably gonna be different because there's so many different places to explore.
To end our day, we've decided to come to this wine bar that overlooks the town of Oberwesel, and I decided to get a dry glass of Riesling, and Chad went with another Radler. And because the sun has finally come out to greet us, everything is just covered with a beautiful tint of yellow. We are watching boats ride along the Rhine. Just a wonderful place to people watch, car watch, boat watch. And you know, a little bit of wine always makes everything better. Look at where we just pulled into. Believe it or not, this is our accommodation for the night. How excited are you, Chad?
I'm very excited. I can't wait to see what our room looks like.
Let's see the excitement.
I wonder if, oh.
All right, that is how excited we are. As we previously mentioned, we are staying in a very special accommodation this evening. I'm currently standing in a castle that dates back to 1142. That was when it was first mentioned, at least. And so this place is very, very old, and they have put us in their north tower. Woo! We just walked up 2 flights of a stone staircase, and we've now reached our suite. I'm gonna give you a room tour of the place we'll be staying for the next 2 nights. Come on in. When you first walk in, there's a massive wardrobe on the right, and then we have ourselves a welcome drink. And one of my favorite things about this room are the colorful tapestries that hang the walls, and also the upholstery. Just look at that detail and the patterns, the colors. I'm just so in awe of all the decorations they have in this suite. Over on this side, we have a little study where you could work if you wanted to. And believe it or not, this telephone actually works, and we can ring up the front desk if we wanted to. Behind me is a beautiful window with the most gorgeous view of the Rhine Valley. You can see the vineyards as well as the river. Over on this side, we have a tiny little staircase that goes to our own private patio. You've got to kind of duck down low
don't
to
hit
get
your head.
through. What I personally really like about this patio is that there's a tree right here creating privacy from any wandering eyes that could be looking into our suite or our room. But Chad just pointed out this little bird's nest in the tree. Oh, so cute. It's like a fairy tale.
Kind of like us. We're two little birds.
We're two birds in a nest.
Yes.
If you come all the way to the corner, you can see this beautiful tower that's glowing gold right now because the sun's setting. But what's really nice is that there's a clear view of the sky. So I'm hoping to come out with a cup of tea this evening and look up at the stars. At the end of this hall, there are two doorways. One leads to the master bedroom where there is a king-size bed and little chocolates on the pillows. And there's another view of the Rhine Valley, but from a different angle. And then on this side, personally, I think this is the most extravagant and magnificent part to the room. It is the bathroom. There are cobalt blue and cream tiles all around, and then they have gold hardware, which I think is just such a beautiful mix of colors. It feels very, very sophisticated and elegant. And of course, we have a sink, but take a look at the shower. It is huge. You can fit like, I don't know.
Our dogs.
Not that you want that many people in the shower, but you can fit a lot of people in here. And then coming this way, oh, I can't get over the natural light in here right now. Behind this heavy wooden door is the toilet.
The loo.
Yes, the loo. And then, doesn't end there. We have our very own private sauna. And so behind these doors is just the most fragrant and aromatic smell of wood. We are definitely going to be enjoying this. And if you don't want to be in the sauna, you can sit out here, lounge on the chair, and look at the person who's in the sauna.
I think this is for the person that went in the sauna but needs to lounge. They're like, oh.
Why not both sauna and lounge? And then whip on one of those bathrobes, yeah? So I just can't believe we're staying here for the next 2 nights. It is quite the honor to be staying in such a luxurious place, but we have to go and catch a 4-course dinner. This is just so, so wonderful, and it does feel surreal to be here. There's a fainting couch to catch me. I know, I'm being dramatic, but that delicious meal was so exquisite. Everything melted in our mouths. Ah, one of the best meals we've ever had, hands down. And now we're gonna hop in the sauna, sweat it all out. Nighty night.
In order to get to the castle that we are visiting this morning, we have climbed aboard a pretty small ferry to cross the Rhine River. I'm pretty sure it only fits I don't know, 10, 15 cars max. And off to the right, we can actually see a very historic castle that I imagine would have collected tolls for the traders coming along the Rhine River. And we just paid our toll to cross the river, which is a very immersive experience, I suppose. But we should be over there in, I'd imagine, like a minute or two. It's a very short ride. We just wrapped up our tour of the castle and I had so much fun learning about the history, and our guide was so engaging. He would like raise his voice and get really loud in certain parts, and then he would lower it. Like you'd have to get closer to listen up. The castle was just so interesting because the way it was designed is like this spiral shape, and in order to get to the heart or the center of the castle, you'd have to go through 4 different gates. The horses of the day couldn't go up any stairs, so it was just this very steep incline, and if it would get wet, you'd kind of slip on that cobblestone. But we were able to see a number of different rooms, such as the kitchen, the cellar, where they slept, and like a great hall, as well as an armory. And overall, I just felt like I got fully immersed in the history of this place. But also, this castle is one of the last remaining apparently on this side of the Rhine, or in this region, and I believe it's because it's so steep that it was almost impossible to conquer, and that's why we get to enjoy it today.
We've just driven over to the town of Lorelei, and during the summer season, there's a toboggan that gives rides to children and adults. And today we are going to partake in this experience. I was looking through the photos, everyone is smiling ear to ear, so I suppose that will be us in just about 10 minutes. I personally am a little bit nervous for this toboggan ride. It looks like there's some things that you have to control, maybe the brakes. So I'm hoping that we can sit in the toboggan together, you know, do it as a team, but oh, I don't know, I might have to go solo too.
There are lots of children running about screaming with excitement, either from having gone or they are about to go.
Oh, yes.
And I think that's going to be Claire after we go. She's going to be like, that was so much fun.
This is what the toboggan looks like. Seems like you can fit 2 people. They're saying that the taller person has to go in the back, and so unless I'm about to get another growth spurt, Chad has 4 inches on me, so he will be sitting in the back and controlling it.
5 inches. 5 inches.
No, 4 inches.
Wow, this is awesome.
Whoa.
We need one of these.
Ah, this is nice. We're almost at the top of the hill.
Nope, a little actually way farther.
Long way to go before we go downhill.
25 meters.
50 meters. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Hold on to the camera.
I'm holding on to the camera for dear life. Oh my goodness. I don't think I've laughed that hard in ages. I'm like slightly tearing up from all the laughter.
So this is how they showcase the people riding this. It's clear.
Oh my god! My voice is hoarse. That's the sign of a good time. Another day, another 4-course meal. We have a set menu once again, and so it's gonna be a complete surprise. I'm gonna head in and hit the dinner bell, my favorite part. What a glorious meal to end such a memorable day here in the Rhine River Valley. And we want to say a really big thank you to the German National Tourism Board for hosting us here. We are only halfway through their 12-day trip that they've planned out for us, and we are so excited for what's to come next. We'll be spending just a bit more time here in the Rhine River Valley before heading up to Cologne and Dusseldorf. So if you'd like to see where we go next as we travel to 50 countries around the world, hit subscribe. And with all of that said, we'll catch you all next time. Bye!